I believe that all religions have many things to agree, especially values related to family. And today is about, the topic is on the family institutions. And we know that this is something very important in Islam. Family is the basic unit. It's like a kidney to the body, in which for a society to be good and progressive, then they must have a good family. Then after that, family has undergone a lot of challenges that can bring a kind of inaccurate understanding from religious perspective, maybe. So this is why we need people from religious point of view to talk about it, and then especially in front of us are young people who maybe need to know a lot of things about family for their future life and etc. So I believe, mashallah, this is a very good topic and timely for us to discuss about it. And I don't want to take a lot of time. Inshallah, we will be listen more from the speakers. And thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Amila, for the warm welcoming speech. And now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Dawood Al-Malik Yahya Al-Hidabi, Director of International Institute for Muslim Unity, for opening speech. Please welcome.
Thanks, Sister Noor. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. I'm really happy to attend this seminar or forum, simply because as the title of this forum is to know each other. To know each other about a very important concept. And I'm really thankful to our friends and speakers and students, boys and girls, who are with us today to share with us their own understanding of the concept of a family. I'm sure all of us, all different religions, consider the family as a very important unit of society. As we know that in Islam is a way of life, and family is part of this way of life. Because in Islam, it means that we have to submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is clearly stated in both the tradition of the Prophet and the revelation of Quran. The family has been given the due attention, so that if we want harmonious, peaceful society, we have to establish harmonious and peaceful family. So Islam is covering all walks of life, and family is just part of this life. And to us, it's very important to live happily as well. It is the basic building block of a society. If we are looking for peaceful society, we need to establish a very peaceful family. However, there is a verse in Quran. I'm not going to translate it. It is in Surah Ar-Rum, verse 21. Anyone can read it, but it considers establishing the family as a sign or a miracle of God. Because as the husband and wife get together, they feel passion among them, loving, kindness, and everything which we never thought before. And this is only a sign and a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We hope that all different religions will shed some light on this important issue, and we have to get together. How can, because of the challenges and also the new ideologies today, liberalism and so on, they are trying to undermine this basic unit. And if we are distracting this basic unit, the whole society will collapse. Thanks for all the committee members. Thanks for Dr. Fatmir, who is always leading figure in organizing this series of forums about interreligious dialogue. And thanks for our speakers who are representing Islam, representing Christianity, and also Buddhism. I hope that we will have a better understanding of each other, and we can collaborate in the future. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Thank you, Professor Dr. Dawood, for the speech. And now I move to our next agenda. I will proceed to interreligious dialogue guidelines that will be represented by Associate Professor Dr. Fatmi Shehu, the instructor of Interreligious Dialogue and Deputy Director of International Institute for Muslim Unity. Please welcome, Doctor.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wa man tabi'ahu bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Our respected Prof. Dawood, the director of IMU, Dr. Amila, the head of Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion, our respected speakers, Associate Professor Dr. Amna, and we have Prof. Whitson for Christianity, Amna for representative of Islam, and we have Mr. Natata, that is from Sri Lanka, is a representative of Buddhism. As well as I would like to say a very good afternoon to all the participants, as well as the students who have contributed a lot, and to the IMO team, including Sister Nani and Aziza. Now, before we proceed with this program, it is just a reminder for all of us in order to understand the very aim and the content of interreligious dialogue. So I'll just mention briefly, before we proceed with the program, what is meant by interreligious dialogue and what you are supposed to do. So that is based on my humble understanding. After I have gone through, I have come out with the result that interreligious dialogue is the best platform that allows people of different religious backgrounds to share their views based on the teachings of their religions and to be heard by others, as well as to listen to what other dialogists share with them based on the teachings of their religions too. Such kind of engagement is a double-sided way of conversation where the involved dialoguing parties must respect each other's views accordingly. Therefore, interreligious dialogue must be an authentic dialogue without superiority, preconceptions, hidden motives, or convictions on either side. And interreligious dialogue aims at promoting peaceful coexistence and harmony in a community characterized by religious diversity and culture and civilizational differences. Therefore, we'd like to remind the representatives that coming from 3 different religious communities, Muslim community, Christian community, and a Buddhist community, as well as those who are attending this forum, about the following guidelines. First, maintain the scope of your speech based on the teachings of your religion and provide beneficial solutions related to the theme of this forum, that is family institution, from the perspectives of a Muslim, a Christian, and a Buddhist. Second, show kindness and mutual respect towards each other's views related to the subject of this forum. Third, accept others as they are, not as you want them to be regarding their religious affiliation, which is different from yours. Avoid any kind of attempt in a form of views, thoughts, and expressions that might lead to an offensive situation, which is contradictory to the platform of this forum. Interact and exchange information with the intention of sharing knowledge and not thinking or trying to convince others to embrace or follow your worldview. Observe the aim of interreligious dialogue, that is number 6 and the last, throughout this event, which is to promote mutual respect and better understanding that develops friendly engagement and peaceful coexistence. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best in this event.
Thank you, Dr. Fatmi, for the proper and clear guidelines. And now, without further ado, I would like to pass to our first facilitator, Sister Rumaisa Muhammad Ahmad Al-Muallim, to take the honor introducing our first speaker of Muslim representative. Please welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Rumaisa Muhammad Al-Muallim, and today, inshallah, I'm going to be the facilitator of the Muslim representative, Assist Prof. Dr. Amna bint Bahri. Before I proceed to her speech, I would like to introduce her briefly about her academic and educational career. Assist Prof. Dr. Amna bint Bahri acquired her degree in economy, and her master in Islamic Fundamental Studies from International Islamic University of Malaysia. And she did her PhD in Islamic Thought and Civilization from the International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization. She is currently attached to the Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion, Kulliyah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, Kulliyah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, in IAUM. Currently assists Prof. Dr. Cha Amna Bintu Bahri teaching religious moral issue, research methodology, statistic from Islamic studies and reading in Usuluddin. And her research area of interest is in Islamic thought and ethics. So this is apart from her educational and academic career. And please welcome Dr. Assis Prof. Cha Amna Bintu Bahri.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all participants here, to the speakers, to Dr. Fatmir, Prof. Dawood, and others. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for inviting me. Briefly, I was given about 20 minutes to present, so I'll share my screen with all of you on what am I going to explain to all. So hopefully that everybody can see now my screen. Yes? Is everybody can see my screen right now?
Yes, right now. Not yet.
Yes. Can you see now?
No.
Not yet.
So how am I going to do? Now I am pressing it, isn't it? I'm touching, I am clicking on the screen, right? And
Yes.
then what next? And then I go to my presentation.
Well,
Prof, we
first,
cannot see anything.
Okay.
yeah,
So can you
it's
see now?
Coming. It's
Yeah.
coming, Aishan.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Something.
Okay. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The title as given to me for all, I believe, all my students here who are taking with me, I can see right now with on research methodology and also in other subjects. You are welcome. But then this is quite straightforward. Okay, briefly, if we were to talk about family and institution, you can see here from what am I on the screen itself, it's talking about FIFA World Cup. And so what is you see, pictures speaks a lot, right? Qatar World Cup 2020, Morocco won the game. You see what are the values that you can find from this. The mother, the leader, the world players, and how do they, you see, show their expression. This is the situation whereby they're being defeated. So how do they show again their expression of when they are in the state of being defeated? So what am I bringing all this? You see, what is this all about? It's actually about values. Values, moral values, meaning to say values will always, inshallah, won. Love of God won, love of parents won, and love of Ummah and Palestine will also, inshallah, won. So now, having said this, what that got to do with our topic today? So this is where we are talking on giving you the first definition. So which means here all of us know family is a close-knit unit of human society, and is one of the first and most basic institution formed to develop a nation. And as we know, every society has a family institution that produces, nurtures, and protects individuals to lead peaceful life. And also, of course, they are crucial in nurturing values, which we have seen just now. All right. So let's see what's next. So what are the kind of values you are talking about? You can see here trust, choices, and all. Now, next, again, go straight to the point because I have 3 parts that I'm going to share with all of you. First one is on family institution, which regard to its meaning, very clear that we know very well. Family is an Arabic word, is referred to as ahli, to get married, which means what? Take note of the meaning itself because it's actually talking on the worthy of the relationship itself. And then usrah, also derived from al-asru, which means bond. This bond is very important, whereby it speaks on bond with regard to biology, psychology, sociology, and spiritual. That is why you see just now what happened to this group of people, the Moroccan players. How do they react? And then also a'ilah, which means to support what? The family members, to have fit members of the family. This is all taken from references, authentic one. Okay, the next one, in general, to say that marriage in Islam, as Professor Daud has mentioned just now, means a civil contract between two individuals with the backing of two families. And then the side from the lady and also from the man, it requires the consent of two entering marriage, for legal binding document, and also it serves as a constitution for the home state with all the functionalities and also responsibilities. Very strong statement, in general. But in specific, again, this is the verse which Prof mentioned just now. All right, in specific, marriage in Islam is a commitment of the spouses and their families to each other. Therefore, it increases the sense of responsibility, and then sacrifice, defeats and overcomes any individual selfish tendency for common good. And also, you can see Muslims' life is a family stable with all this requirement. Okay, now I go straight to the position of women. There you go. Mentioned from Sunan Ibn Majah. What it says, in Islam, a woman, married or single, is seen as a person in her own right and not merely an adjunct to another person. As such, she has complete freedom of ownership, disposal of her property, earning, and even after marriage. After she has, say, for example, divorce or whatsoever, there is some kind of properties given to her. Now, when married, she retains her family name instead of adopting her husband's name. Then for men, you can see here, they are our libasa, our clothes, and they are also our clothes, which is mentioned in Surah Baqarah. Right. Islam assigns the family leadership role to men because God endowed them, Rijal Qawamun ala Nisa, because of the strength, because of the endurance, because of the physical and emotional strength. And then, on the other hand, women, biologically and psychologically, very much suited to concentrate on the home and family and all that required to operate and develop this institution and its associated area. It does not mean to say that they do not work outside of the home. They do. It depends on the circumstances. All right, in terms of equity, you can see from Surah An-Nahl. So we'll see the meaning itself. So the differences in roles or function between men and women does not mean differences in humanity. So it's actually the Quran tells several points about the equality of men. It's not equal, men are equal to women. No, but we are talking about equity. So this is mentioned in Surah An-Nisa, whereby if any do good deeds, they be they male or female, they will enter heaven, and there's not last injustice done to them. Briefly, so this is the definition and all. Now I go straight to the second topic or second part, which is given to me, manage of family. I think I will be focusing more on character building because it's a very wide topic, and I within 20 minutes I could not do justice. So therefore, I just focus on character building, taking a lesson from Surah Luqman. Right. You can see here the picture. It speaks a lot. Parents, mother and father are the first person responsible for character building. Character, what is the meaning of character? Character refers to how someone thinks, feels, and behaves, and someone's personality, the state of man's soul. If he is happy, you can see he will express his happiness onto the surrounding. If he's sad, we can also see the expression. All right. Again, this is a very strong statement. Iyakum bizan, ba'duzan ithmun is also taken from the verses of Quran, but this one is a word of what do you call it, hukama, which is very interesting. Watch your thought, they become words. Watch your words, they become action. Watch your action, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. And we add further, destiny, whether it's happiness or misery. Shaqawah or sakina. So where do I get all this? I got it from a statement given by Low. I mean, this is what supermarket chain, the CEO, founded by Frank Outlaw in 1961. Okay, let's go on to the next part. Again, it reflects that the picture here, parents and surrounding are responsible for character building. So children are the gift and trust, amanah from Allah. Parents play a critical role in shaping their character. So here, that is what I'm saying. Quran narrates Luqman's wisdom in shaping his son's character. Let's see what are the example that we can see. What are the technique that Luqman in general presented to all of us as a mean for us to emulate later on. Okay, let's see here, Luqman, Surah 31. I'm focusing on relevant ayat only. Okay, the critical components of Luqman's techniques is the effective communication that he employs in all of his activities with his son. So the first technique you can see here, we have 6 altogether. The first one, okay, what is it? There you are. The call, Ya Bunayya, which means, oh beloved. I mean, if in Malay, they will call it Wahai Anakku, but we don't really call Wahai Anakku for Malay. I will call it's either Abang, means to show our affection. Abang means elder son, or Kakak, elder sister, or adik. So here, as mentioned by Luqman in the surah itself, is actually Ya Bunayya, which means, beloved, show us the love and concern that a sincere father and mother has in raising his child. So Luqman used this call, this sweet call, for 3 times in the verses 13, 16, and 17. So parents should use appropriate language when communicating with their children, because using derogatory language to children will make them rebel and difficult to deal with. Wallahi lazim. All of us experience, Dr. Fatimir knows well, Prof. Dawood knows well. Importantly, parents should choose a good name, of course. This is taken for their children, because each name can influence each people's personality. Right, I'll move on to the next one. The second technique. What technique is that? Here, symbolism. The use of symbolism in advice makes it deeper and easier for the target audience to understand. So Luqman reminds his son of the importance of manners when interacting with others. You can find it in verse 18. So he used the term wala tusa'iru, meaning in the verse 18 is derived, I mean the term tusa'ir, it comes from the word sa'ri, which refers to camel suffering from the neck pain or spasms, sprain, so that it is not possible to turn his neck in other direction, which means to say arrogant, which is very interesting when you look through. So what is the meaning of this one? So here he said the arrogant and tendency to look down on others of different position only create a gap in a relationship. So when you feel so arrogant, this is the outcome. Okay, this is second technique. Again, some explanation also we can see further. The same is true for intonation. How you call people with the intonation when you are angry, when you are you don't like somebody. So Luqman forbids his son from raising his voice when he speaks more than necessary, comparing it to the voice of a donkey. But why donkey? Again, very interesting finding. When it is offensive or insulting, the Arabs, and Prof. Dawood can confirm this, a donkey relying on many negative characteristics. Is it true, Prof? Of an abusive individual. This is what I found in one of the thesis writing. Yes, thank you. Then the choice of donkey is to be compared to those who prefer to yell, yell and raise their voices against others to reflect the disadvantages of such behavior which society dislikes. There you are.
Dr.
One of the manners required in Islam is to honor others while speaking gently and with a smile on your face, of course. Yeah? Right. Then the third technique, what is it? It's all about? It's actually advice. Yeah. So in this surah, Luqman consistently repeats 4 things. What are the 4 things that you can find? Number 1 is prohibition of shirik, and gratitude to Allah. This is the first. The other one is repeating also on danger of shirik in verse 15, but in a different context that involve the priority of giving obedience to God in the event of a conflict with the parents. Say, for example, the son is a Muslim, but the parents are non-Muslim. The mother cooks something which is non-halal, probably inviting her son to eat, but then the son can always say, sorry mama, I cannot eat this, but I can eat something else, not this one. So that is how what we call it, giving obedience to God in event of conflict, with the teaching of the religion itself. Then Luqman also reminds his children to be grateful for all the blessing Allah Ta'ala has given to them. This one you can find in verses 12 and 14. Here again, a reiteration of the bounties of Allah. If you want to count, you cannot count it. Yeah. So Luqman is reminding all of us. Okay, the other one, the other technique. Okay. Every other prohibition given out by parents should also be supported by reasonable argument and explanation to aid the children's understanding. So Luqman used this method to explain why is it essential for children to appreciate their parents' sacrifice. This is taken in verses 13 and 14. So some parents prefer just to force their children to follow all instruction. You cannot ask, don't ask, just do it. This is where you can see the outcome later on. This will instill rebellion in their young minds, making it difficult for them to accept and follow instruction. So reasonable arguments and explanations should support every order or prohibitions given out by parents. Yeah? So I move on to the 5th technique. Again, attention. What do you mean by that? Here, while the various elements of education has been implemented, regular monitoring and supervision must be done. So you can see why is it so? Because if you do not supervise, you do not monitor, this causes them to mature without reprimanding to correct their errors. Just in connecting with what the pictures which I have shown much earlier on FIFA, Malay custom, they don't really express, Dr. Fatimir can confirm this, they don't really express what is inside them. Just like the Moroccan people, they run, they're dancing, to express their happiness. But Malay's culture, no, it's not of that kind. They're a little bit malu, haya. Yeah? Sometimes this haya kills the Malay. Yes, finish?
Yeah, already finished the time.
Allah. So I cannot finish. Last one last slide.
You can conclude in 3 minutes, Doctor.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I will not will take more your time, but if you have anything to ask, this is the last technique, technique 6, role model. I will have not to read this one. So in verse 15, Luqman has instilled in his son the importance of following the footpath of those who return to Allah, role model. Then another one is to have friends. Friendship choices and positive environment also play an essential role in our connectivity with others. All right. Now, what about the interreligious dialogue? Very interesting. When the technique that we have learned from Luqman just now, we can apply. Interreligious dialogue aims to promote mutual respect, and then so what is the purpose? To move forward non-violent means of conflict resolution. And at the same time, we want to show our respect, to foster goodness, cooperation, unity among people of different religions and culture. And finally, there are 4 essential interfaith dialogue. This is all taken from, you can see here, Jandra Muzaffar and Kamar Onya, all that. And finally, I see, or religion teach their followers how to relate to others and accommodate people of other religion and belief. So, but then again, in our contact today, in promoting the harmony in pluralistic society like Malaysia, we do not, again, the stress here, we do not dilute our fundamental religious belief system when we relate and accommodate others, so that the spirit of muhibbah can be nurtured among us. Professor Qamar Unnah is our great professor who taught us comparative religion well. So then this is the principle of non-interference, difference, sympathy, and communal cooperation. Having said that, thank you so much. This is my last speech. Though I do have more, tapi I can share later on if it's necessary. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Cik Amnah. That I believe that from Dr. sharing that in the family, each member has a task to do. And I like it when Dr. mentioned that even there are differences in role, that that does not mean they also have differences in humanity between men and women. And now I would like to pass to our second facilitator, Sister Miki Samata, to take the honor to, introducing our second speaker. Please welcome.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Miki. I am a facilitator of a Christian representative. For the next speaker, we would like to invite speech regarding Christianity by Professor Frans Whitson from Netherlands as a Christian representative. Before his speech, I would like to introduce his background briefly. Professor Frans Joseph Savas Whitson is a professor of religion and mission studies at the Radboud University in Netherlands. He obtained PhD degree of theology in Catholic University in 1994. In his research, he focuses on dialogue between culture and religion. He researches in the way in which sustainable development is implemented in different countries and cultures. Especially, he's interested in policy and management issues concerning dialogue and development, and conducting research project in Tanzania, Indonesia, and Netherlands. And his main topics of research are integration, conflict, and ecology, and conducts them with faith-based organization. That's all for my introduction of Professor Frans Whitson. Please welcome his honorable speech.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure and an honor to present my thoughts about the family institution in this prestigious interreligious forum. I think it's my fourth time to be among you, and it is always a pleasure to share some thoughts about very relevant topics. And today, the topic family institution is indeed very, very important. As is clear from the previous speaker, Dr. Amnah, we were given 4 questions. How does Christianity deal with the family institution? That's question 1. How do Christians manage their family institution? What should contemporary family institutions look like? What is the importance of interreligious forum in discussing the family institution? Well, 4 questions, and all that in sorry, I got some messages. All that in 20 minutes, and that's why I don't have a PowerPoint, because we tend to speak too much. Let me remind you of the fact that in the advertisement it is said that I will talk about the family institution from a Christian perspective. But don't forget that within Christianity we have broad varieties, basically Orthodox, Catholic, and Protestant. I don't have time to go in detail, but I speak from a Catholic background. So when you say the family institution, please be reminded, I speak from a Catholic background, I don't pretend that I can speak for Orthodox or Protestants. So let me address the first question. How does Christianity deal with the family institution? On 30 December, 3 weeks to go, the Catholic Church celebrates the feast of the Holy Family of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. This feast celebrates the Holy Family, the Blessed Mother in Catholic terminology, Saint Joseph, and the child Jesus as the holiest family and the model for all Christian families. Now, we were asked to address the sources. If we look at the biblical foundations, if you look at the scriptures, the foundation for the Holy Family is very poor. In fact, we have only 2 texts that refer to the Holy Family. The first is the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verse 7. I quote, "And she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling cloths and laid him in a manger because there was no place for them in the inn." End of quote. Gospel of Luke. Now, this story refers to Jesus' birth. Be reminded that at that time, Jesus' birth, the Jews were occupied by the Romans, by the Roman Empire. It was the time that the Roman Emperor Augustus ordered a census to be taken throughout the whole Roman Empire. Everyone had to register at his place of birth. So Joseph, the father of Jesus, went from Nazareth to Bethlehem, where he was born, with his fiancée, who was pregnant. And during that journey, she gave birth. Remember the words. In the gospel, it is said, Joseph went from Nazareth to Bethlehem with his fiancée, who was pregnant. They were not married. They were not married. I come later to the norm of a Christian family, but it is very striking that in the gospel, it is said that Joseph went with his fiancée, so not married, and during that journey, she gave birth. The second is the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 14 and 15. Again, I quote, "So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of King Herod. And so was fulfilled what the Lord has said through the prophet, out of Egypt I called my son." End of quote. Now, this story refers to the fear of King Herod, the representative of the Roman Empire, who got the news of the birth of a child who was called the King of the Jews. Remember, Roman Empire, and then there is a child called the King of the Jews. So he felt threatened. Then an angel appeared, according to the gospel, in a dream to Joseph, saying King Herod would be looking for the child to king it. He did not like a king of the Jews, because he was the king, he was the emperor. So in the dream, Joseph was told, take your child and the mother and escape to Egypt and stay until there till I tell you to leave. Now, both stories narrate about the love and care in the family. I think Dr. Amna made that very clear about family values. And I think there is no difference between Christianity and Islam in that respect. Please be reminded that very little is known about the birth of Jesus. In fact, we know nothing about it. There is no eyewitness. And it's very clear. Jesus became only famous in his public life, 3 years. And of course, only after his death, people recognized that this was a very famous person, a very important person. But of course, we know only from eyewitnesses 3 years of his public life. So 30 years, we don't know. That means about his birth, we have no eyewitnesses, we have no stories. And of course, in the gospel, as you know, in the Bible, as you know, we have 4 different stories. narrating about a very special person. But logically, when a person dies, he must have been born. So it is a story, both stories, but different stories, about the birth of Jesus in a family context, characterized by love and care. Now, in this respect, Christianity and Islam don't differ. Now, for Catholics, apart from the Gospels or the scriptures, there is also the catechesis of the Catholic Church, which means the teachings of the Catholic Church. About the family in God's plan, it says, I quote the Catechesis of the Catholic Church, article 2202, I quote, "A man and a woman united in marriage, together with their children, form a family. This institution is prior to any recognition by public authority, which has an obligation to recognize it. It should be the normal reference point by which the different forms of family relationships are to be evaluated. A man and a woman united in marriage." Remember that Joseph and Mary were not married, but Mary gave birth to a child. I come back to that later. It continues, I quote, "In creating man and women, God instituted the human family and endowed it with its fundamental constitution. Its members are persons equal in dignity." I think Dr. Amna made that clear also in Islam. It is about dignity, human dignity. That's the basic characteristic. And just as in Islam, the catechesis says that the Christian family is the cell of the church, of the ummah in Islamic terms, but the wider community, and of the society. And in that respect, I think Catholicism and Islam have the same idea. Apart from the Gospels and the catechesis, there is a third source. As you know, Catholicism is a quite hierarchical religion. There is a Pope who is the leader of the church, and the Pope has the authority to speak on behalf of the whole community. But before the Pope does so, he has a consultation with all the bishops, the religious leaders. And so he listens to all the bishops all over the world, and regularly he calls them to Rome, which is the headquarters of Catholicism, and then he proposes a certain topic. He listens to the bishops from all continents in the world, and then he writes an exhortation, a letter. Now, the Pope organized 2 synods about the family. The first was in October 2015, and the other one was a year later. The one was about the pastoral challenges of the family in the context of evangelization, and the second was held on the call and mission of the family in today's church and world. Now, as some of you may know, the present Pope is a very moderate person. He listens very carefully to what people say. And it is very interesting that in his letter that he wrote after listening to the bishops in the synods, he wrote a letter called, as always in Italian, of course, Amoris Laetitia, the joy of love. And it's very striking that although he repeats the teaching of the church, a man and a woman united in marriage, together with their children, should be the normal reference point by which the different forms of family relationships have to be evaluated. I mentioned that already. But the Pope clearly recognizes the reality of the brokenness of the family, of our society, and emphasizes not so much the dogma, not so much the teaching, but the pastoral care. The pastoral care to the family, realizing the brokenness. Once again, Mary and Joseph were not married. Mary got delivered a child. Yes, the ideal is the family, but the reality very often is different for a variety of reasons. Now that brings me to the second topic, and I see that I have to speed up a little bit. How do Christian marriage manage their family institutions? Now, just as in Islam, in Christianity, let me be more specific, in Catholicism, we have a church law. We have our own law, the Code of Canon Law. And of course, all the guidelines about the family are in that law. Now, Article 226, verse 2, reads, "Those who are married are bound by the special obligation in accordance with their own vocation to strive for the building up of the people of God through their marriage and family. Because they give life to their children, parents have the most serious obligation and the right to educate them." So here again, in the Code of Canon Law, it is very clear that care and love within the family is important value, just as Dr. Amna said, from a Muslim perspective. Let me go to the third question. What should contemporary family look like? Well, I referred already to the synods. We have the ideal of the family, the ideal, the norm that we should strive for. But of course, we all know that the reality is different. In Europe, but also in Indonesia, where I stay quite often, we have the reality of the single parent family, single mothers living with children. In Europe, we have the same-sex marriage. Of course, you know, some of the European countries have a very liberal marriage law. So it is not a marriage between a man and a woman. It is a marriage between a man and a man and a woman having children. Now, that is really a dilemma, of course, when you look at it from the Christian ideal. And I think from the Christian Catholic perspective, we have to cope with that ambiguity and the complexity that, on the one hand, Christians, of course, in my country, Catholic Christian believers are a minority. Most of people are secular. 80% of my country is a non-believer. Only 20% is Christian. So they have an ideal about a Christian family. Yet the reality in the society is that law in my country allows a man and a woman to have a marriage and to have children. So the ambiguity, on the one hand, of course, we keep our Christian ideal of a Christian family. And on the other hand, we have to obey to the law of the country. And yeah, that is the ambiguity. And as the Pope clearly says, we have to approach that reality with love and care, and from the perspective of spiritual caregiving. So not condemn, not condemn people who live a marriage that is not according to the Christian ideal, but try to guide them and give spiritual care. Now, we can come back to that in the discussion, because I think it's not that much different in Southeast Asian society, as far as I know. Let me come to the third and the last question, and maybe that is also a point for the discussion. What is the importance of the interreligious forum in discussing the family institution? Well, I think from my point of view, it is very important. And I would approach it from the perspective of the interreligious marriage. Care and love within the family is care and love
Professor Wilson.
religion. Yes.
Oh. Adalah We have three. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, I'm going to. I'm not sure about the family law in Malaysia, but I know the family law in Indonesia. In Indonesia, it is not allowed to have an interreligious marriage. It's not possible to have an interreligious marriage. So if a Muslim girl and a Catholic man love each other, they care about each other, maybe they even have a child, it is not possible or very difficult to marry. Yet I think that if you look at it from the perspective of care and love, I think that an interreligious marriage could be a model for a pluralistic society. That would be my statement, and maybe we can have a discussion about it. So I think we, from the interreligious dialogue perspective, we should safeguard the right of a man, of a Muslim, or people from different spouses from different religious backgrounds who care and love each other to have a marriage, and see that as a model for a multicultural society. Well, I leave it at that. I thank you for your attention, and I look forward to the questions and answers. I give the floor back to the moderator.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Frank Joseph and Sister Miki Samata. Thank you, Prof, again for the interesting sharing. So I got that as a human, as a woman, I feel valued with a marriage that cares about someone or woman's dignity. Hence, that I want to highlight that human values are very important in a family institution and when someone wants to build a family. Okay, without further ado, I would like to pass to our third facilitator, Brother Muhammad Zarif Rafiki, to take the honor introducing our third speaker. Please welcome.
All right. Thank you, Sister Bushira. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Zarif Rafiki, and I serve as the facilitator of the Buddhist representative for this interreligious dialogue. Before we proceed, please allow me to briefly introduce him. He is Mr. Samantha Ilangakun, who is currently a senior lecturer in the Department of Philosophy in the University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka. He has obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree in Philosophy with first class in the same university. Furthermore, he has completed 2 master's degrees, both in Philosophy and Buddhist Studies in Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka. He has served as a dean in the Faculty of Buddhist Studies in the same university. Now he is currently completing his doctorate in University of Kelaniya. Without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Samantha Ilangakun.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me. I would like to welcome all of you for my speech. And I would like to thank all the professors and the organizers and the committee members for facilitating us for this wonderful dialogue. Okay, before starting, let me share my screen. So can you make me as a co-host, if possible?
Excuse me, Mr. Samantha, I think we have already given you the co-host. You can try sharing.
But I cannot share this one, brother.
All right, please give us a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, we have given you the co-host.
Okay.
Mr. Samantha, you can share your screen.
Okay, now it's Okay, I think now you may be able to see my screen. This is a very interesting topic, as I think, because the Buddhist concept of family is a very important fact. So first, let's try to identify from the Buddhist perspective what is meant by family. So family is a concept from the Buddhist perspective because originally there is no family, but only individuals. When two individuals get together and make or form the family, then there is the family. So according to Buddhism, family is an institution with moral and reciprocal relationship, especially among husband and wife, parents and children. So as we know, it is the smallest unit in the society, and the integration in the family would lead to social and institutional coexistence. So the peace at micro level in the family is primary and pivotal from the Buddhist perspective. So then let's move to the next topic, that is the origin and evolution of the family according to Buddhism. So this story is found in Aggañña Sutta. Aggañña means the beginning of the world or the society. So there were inhabitants, early inhabitants. They are recognized as beings in the sutra because there was no gender discrimination, no sexual differences among them. But when time went, they began to eat rice and many vegetables, and as a result of that, females and males symbols appears among them. So after that, it was so curious, and males and females look each other. So they, with curiosity, then what happened? The lust, the disposition of lust entered to their minds. So as a result of that, they engage sexual intercourse in public. But this behavior, sexual behavior, was blamed and criticized by some. Then what did they do was they built houses in order to hide their sexual intercourse. So that is the beginning of family according to Buddhist doctrine. So the constitution of family. So in Pali, that is the language used by the Buddha to preach his doctrine. And in Pali, we find a noun, kula. So kula is used as the synonyms for family. So family unit denoted by the term kula is not actually the nuclear family, as it has been mentioned in the Buddhist text, because it is not only husband and wife, and there are children, and there are grandparents, and there are sisters and children, daughter-in-law, etc. So basically, in Buddhism, the family is recognized as the extended family. But we know basically there should be a male and a female to form a family. So according to Buddhist text, the family system is a patriarchal one. So as a result of that, husband or the man occupied the prime position in the family. Therefore, he said the Kulapati, the head of the family, something like that. So in all family affairs, wife enjoy equal status with her husband. So that is mentioned in Buddhism. And wife was expected to deputize her husband in all family affairs. In this regard, she had to shoulder added responsibilities. So in Pali, wife is called Bhariya. So it means actually bearer, because she bears a lot, especially she is to bear children. That is one of her main function in the family. But as a whole, when we look at the familial concepts in Buddhism, there are few categories of issues. Mainly, actually, the Buddhism as a religion does not encourage family life. Rather than Buddhism encourage renunciation, that is, leaving the family and live alone and practice celibacy, because it would help for spiritual development. The family life would be a distraction or disturbance for the spiritual development. So, however, there are other type of families in Buddhism, especially the monastic family. That is, of course, the community of the Buddhist monks. So that is also formed as a family. And the last one is actually among the Buddhist society, there are other lay people who are living alone, that means practicing celibacy, and male figures, that is nuns. And, so among, on that institution, they are seeing some elite family. But our focus is on the third one, because that is the lay people's family institution, or the guide. There are many guidelines to conduct the family life based on Buddhist moral principle. So, though main concern is the spiritual development, the supramundane lifestyle, but Buddhism as a religious teaching focuses on the secular aspects as well. So there are numerous teachings regarding the family institution. So I would like to concise them like this. So husband-wife relationship is the most important part or morality or moral basis in the family. So that actually, according to Buddhism, based on mutual respect and reciprocal relationships. So then the relativity, there is relativity of each roles, because the names, the proper names like husband and wife, such nouns are there because of their relativity. There is no husband without wife. There is no wife without husband. So their existence is relative to each other. And the other factor, according to Buddhism, is that though these days in modern time we mainly concerns of human rights, women's rights, children's rights, etc. So rights are claimed by us today in modern time. But in Buddhism, what is mentioned, the duties. So what is the implication of duties is that if we identify our roles, if we play our roles properly, if we perform our duties to others, rights will come to you without any problem. So you don't have to exhaust to have rights, because if you have done your duties, then you will be able to enjoy your rights without any difficulty. Then the other thing is interdependency and interconnectedness. So that is a very important teaching in Buddhism, that is called dependent co-origination. So it relates to family institutions also. All the members in the family are interconnected as well as interdependent. So then the coexistence, especially between husband and wife or children and parents. So these coexistence could be model for the society as the smallest unit in the society. So all these well-being of the family based on the application of the basic moral principle. So the all types of relationships in family based on the morality. So that is a very important implication according to Buddhist moral principle. So the Singalovada Sutta advises the wives should be the gratitude by the husband. In response, the wife shows the sympathy to the husband. So husband must praise the wife, and the wife should not be scorned. So the husband should be loyal to the wife. The authority of the household should be given to the wife. The husband should give his wife adornment. So when we look at these 5 ways that the husband should show gratitude to wife, it clearly seems that the Buddha had concern about the psychological and sociological factors of womanness. Right? Then the wife also would reciprocate by performing her duties in 5 ways to her husband. So she should organize the industry. So therefore, wives, one of the duties is to organize or manage the economy in the family. Those who are related to the family, such as friends, relatives, and workers, should be looked after by the wife. So that is also very important thing. Relatives and friends should be looked after and should be protected by the wife. And she should be loyal to the husband. That is also a very important factor, because according to Buddhism, monogamy is appreciated. So husband can have one wife and the wife can have one husband. So the 4th one, she should look after what is earned by the husband. So that is a very important economical contribution given by a wife at the household level. She should be competent and vigilant in all affairs. So that is also a very important fact when we think of the well-being of the family institution. Then if we look at the success of family, what are the methods that we can use to be successful in the family? In the Anguttara Nikaya, it identifies 7 kinds of wives. One is wife who is cruel, obstruct the good affairs of the husband. Wife who steals what the husband earned. Wife who behaves like master, gives the husband order all the time, wants her authority to be prevail. So these 3 types of wives are not appreciated in Buddhism. So the last 4 wives are appreciated. Wife who behaves like mother, compassionate towards the husband like mother towards son. So such type of a wife is appreciated and commended. 4th one, wife who looks after husband as the younger sister. So as a sister, if wife can look after the husband, so it is also good. So the sixth one, wife who behaves like friend. Both the wife and the husband are equal in companionship. If the husband and wife can live as friends, so that is a success in the household lifestyle. Fifth one, wife who attends on husband in all activities as his servant. So that might be sometimes neglected, but according to Buddhism, if wives work as a servant with loyalty to husband, that is also commended in Buddhism. Then in Chatukka Nipata, we find 4 types of companionship between husband and wife. So the first one, a corpse-like husband lives with corpse-like wives. So if both are like dead bodies, so it is clear that it is not a very successful marriage life. Then the second one, a corpse-like husband lives with a goddess-like wife. Of course, a wife is like a goddess, but husband is not good. A god-like husband lives with a corpse-like wife.
All right, to the audience, we will take some time and see if he will come back in. It is from his side, not from our side. We will give maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes to see if he will come back or not. Inshallah. All right, we'll wait for another 1 minute for him to come in. And for those who have questions, can get ready for that, since the next session after his talk will be the question and answer session.
Dr. Samantha just entered.
Okay, Dr. Samantha, welcome back. We will please conclude in 1 minute or two.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, everybody. I lost my connection, which is also a very important Pingalwada Sutta. In 5 years, I will now be their support. I will perform the to my inheritance, I will perform the religious rituals due to departed ones. The parents are said to reciprocate in the following manner: restrain the son from vice, set him on the virtuous path, train them in various crafts, contract a suitable marriage, and at the proper time hand over of inheritance. So these are the basic moral principles mentioned in Buddhism regarding the family relationships. So as a conclusion, I would like to say that according to Buddhist teachings, the entire household environment should be governed by the wife. In the process of socialization found in the Singalavada Sutta, 2 women are animated, the mother and the wife. The success of the family life bases on the morality and reciprocal relationships. The mother with father is the first teacher. So peace prevails at the micro level, reflects in the family. So what I wanted to highlight that as a whole, all religions concern about one of the most important secular lifestyle, that is family. And all religions basically talk about the relevance of moral principles for a successful family life. So that is very important when we think of the continuation of the human society. So as a conclusion, I would like to say that the peace, coexistence, harmony, and integration prevail at the micro level, that is family, would be an exemplary for the whole society as an institution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Samantha and Brother Muhammad Zarif. So what I can conclude, I agree with Dr. Samantha that he mentioned that every religion, Islam, Buddhist, Christian, cares about responsibility as basic fundamental in family institution. So we as a human being, we need and we have to play an important role to build a good family institution. Now I would like to pass to Brother Abdullah Faris bin Nafiq at Hanafi for the Q&A session. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and greetings everybody. I'm Abdullah Faris and I will navigate the Q&A session for today's forum. So we highly encourage for everyone to participate, and for the Zoom audience, if you have question, you can type in the chat box or directly raise your hand, and for the audience in YouTube, you can type in the comment section. So we will allow our brother Zarif Rafiki to ask question first.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to ask a question which is quite general, but I choose Dr. Amna to pass the question to. All right, so the question is, hold on, give me a moment. The question is, there are some studies that found that a high percentage of divorces in the modern world are initiated by women, and that the women are usually working high-end jobs or working high-paying jobs which they can suffice for themselves and support themselves, and they do not agree with traditional values that centers around women focusing only on the household. So what are the steps to solve this issue?
So you're asking me to to answer it where you know already. But anyway, thank you, Zarif, for the question. When we talk about divorce rate, yes, we could not deny that. In fact, in Malaysia, if you read correctly, a few days back, I was reading the newspaper. It said in every 5 minutes, one divorce. Imagine that. 1 minute, so that is why if it's in 24 hours time, you can imagine that. But anyway, for the issue of how do we go about in protecting ourselves from, how to curb it, it is actually both sides, because marriage is what? To create mawaddah, sakinah, mawaddah wa rahmah. But if it's the two parties are not ready to sit down and discuss, that would be very difficult. First and foremost, on the women's part, we know very well that nowadays, in terms of women working, in terms of numbers of women working outside, in terms of the percentage of the higher position as compared to men, it is not deniable. We can see in IIUM in particular, you can see that how many boy students in the class, in your own class, how many are there? So after that, once they graduated, definitely you can imagine they will be, inshallah, holding to a higher position. Now, what about men then? Where are all these great guys goes to, or should I say? To my mind, when we study, it's not that they do not want to participate. They are interested more in how should I say, skill, kemahiran, skill like related to industrial skill, motivated in that areas. Therefore, in terms of numbers in the university, is not as large as we can see or as we can expect. So, so what do we do now? Women, some people suggested that we take four for one husband to have for a wife, but then is the person able to do so? Is it capable? This is number one, in terms of money, in terms of ability, in terms of communication wise. When you have less in terms of communication skill, so that is a big question mark there. This is the suggestion, but for me, to my mind, the women also have to really, how should I say, kafa'ah, the system of kafa'ah in the very beginning. You have to lower down a little bit in terms of your, how should I say, your attitude towards the standardized. The most important, as I have said just now, mawaddah wa rahmah. The most important is also happiness. What actually that you want happiness? If you have a lot of money, but constant fighting with husband and wife. Example I'm giving. Say, for example, if the husband have, acquire only to the level of diploma in something, but the wife PhD. But then every day in, day out, they go home fighting. So what is the purpose? This is one scenario. Another scenario, because the wife is able to, again, lower down the level of her understanding in terms of this sharing money or sharing income, probably give and take, and there you are, diploma and PhD can work. But another third scenario is that both party, husband and wife, having same amount of money in terms of what do you call it, the salary that they bring back, and in terms of the similar level of education, PhD and PhD, but attitude-wise is difficult. Meaning, there is no some kind give and take. Remember, we were talking about husband is libasahum. Libas, the covering of the wife, and wife is the cover for the man. So if it's not properly, how should I say, done, so there will be no point also. So now it goes back to the person. That again, the next scenario is that women today have to really understand what actually they want, and they should be ready to sacrifice, and they should also be ready to understand the situation now. Unless and until you be continually continue as a person without a partner. Because if you really put the very high level of demands that you want from your husband to be higher than you. So that is my little thought on that. Thank you so much, Zarif. If you feel, I mean, you can ask other doctor also or professor to answer better. This is my little understanding.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for the answer. So I think we proceed to Brother Amir Hidayat for the next question.
All right. Thank you, Brother Faris. Salam and good evening. My name is Amir Hidayat, and I have a question for our Buddhism representative, Dr. Samantha. Dr. Samantha, you mentioned that in the family morality, as Sigalovada Sutta advises the wife to be shown the gratitude by the husband. And the fourth point, which is the authority of the household should be given to the wife. Does it mean that the wife has absolute right of the household over the husband, or is it the authority should be shared?
Yes, so that's a very good question, Mr. Amir. So I think these duties of husband and wife prescribed in Buddhism based on the 6th century BC Indian social background, because during that time women were discriminated and condemned, and they didn't have any religious, economical, or any social right at that time. So the Buddha addressed that. Traditionally in our culture also, though now in modern time, both parents or husband, wife are employed. Traditionally, husband was the earner. So husband earns money, and they are given to wife. So wife at the household manage all economical affairs. So that authority has been given to wife as a recognition as a part of family. So that's a very important fact. So the scenario has been changed now due to the economical and social changes in the society. But traditionally, that was accepted. So of course, there is no mention about equality, because husband and wife are two different figures altogether. But if they can rightly understand their roles at the household life, I think that is the first thing. That understanding could be the beginning of a successful marriage life or family life. So I think, that is the case.
Understood.
So, somebody, Adibhat how should Buddhist family deal with other religion? In Buddhism, there is no such prohibition or there is no such rules. Actually, the Buddha had not mentioned about conversion or something like that. Because according to Buddhism, it is the individual freedom to select what religion should be followed or what should be accepted as his or her faith. So there is no such rules in Buddhism. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Samantha.
Mega.
Good answer. So I think we proceed to next question, which is from Dr. Samim Ushama. This question was asked to Christianity representative, Dr. Fras Joseph. So the question is there any challenge to the Islam family institution in Christianity from postmodernism? Welcome.
Well, I was just about to type my answer, but I can explain a little bit. Of course, there is. From a Christian, a Catholic perspective, marriage is unbreakable. Marriage is absolute. Marriage is forever. That means, according to the church law, once married, you cannot divorce. That's simply impossible. Marriage is there for always. Now, of course, from a postmodern perspective, eternal values or absolute values don't exist. Reality is fragmented. Reality is flexible. So there really is a contrast between, on the one hand, the Catholic value and understanding of family as an eternal reality, and a postmodern perspective that marriage, that reality is flexible. Eternal realities don't exist. Absolute realities, absolute values don't exist. So there is a tension here. That's why many young people, I would say most young people, don't marry. They live together. They have children together without a marriage. Exactly because of this contrast between the traditional understanding of Christianity or Catholicism and the postmodern understanding of values and truth. I hope this answer is satisfying to the Dr. Ushama.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. So I think continue to the fourth question, which is to Mr. Samantha, Buddhist representative. So Sister Adiba asked, how should Buddhist family deal with child or spouse who want to convert to other religion? Welcome.
Yes, brother, could you please repeat it again? I could not hear properly.
So the question asking how Buddhist family would deal with if their child or their spouse which want to convert to other religion.
Yes, yes, brother. I have already answered that. So I read that chat box, that question, and I answered that earlier. So what I mentioned was actually there is no such prohibition or something like that mentioned in Buddhism, because conversion is not something mentioned in Buddhism. So generally, so it is the individual choice to select what to be followed, what faith to be followed, what religion to be followed. So there is no such prohibition, no such restriction in Buddhism.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Samantha. Sorry for any inconvenience. So we continue to the next question, which is for Muslim representative. So Dr. Cik Amnah, I want to ask is why Islam is very cautious about relationship between a man and woman, and why?
Oh, you know very well, Muslim from Islamic perspective, adab, dignity is the highest price. It is very difficult, and that is why the hadith of the Prophet that says, if you do not have adab, if you do not have haya, you can do all kinds of things. So that is why, as like Brother Samantha was saying just now, I mean, and also from Dr. Wichson just now, also talking about from Catholic point of view, the dignity, the relationship between husband and wife is forever. But for in Islamic perspective, we said that there is a kind of if you could not bear, then you can have this divorce. But if not, you will be suffering throughout the whole life. Yeah, so that is why Islam permits that. But as you were talking on the issue of very cautious just now, even to the extent, if you want to get married, you have to refer to the characteristic of the husband, the characteristic of the wife to be. You see, among others, Islam, the highest level one is, of course, the characteristic of Islam to be the first one, followed by wealth, followed by nasal, what is that? Progeny, and also followed by intelligence, and of course the religion wise. So also for women. So therefore, cautious for the purpose of unless and until you fulfill all this, it takes two parties to develop this element of sakinah, mawaddah, and warahmah. Yeah, so that is my answer to that question. Hopefully it is satisfactory lah, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cik Amnah. So we'll proceed to the next question. So Sister Iman does raise this hand. So welcome.
Okay. Hi. I want to ask to the Christian representative about. Okay, just you said you mentioned before the most of Christian or most of people right now getting married and then not getting married and they have the children. And then my question is, how about the issue if of the inherited of their to their children, and what if, no, what if, I'm so sorry, I repeat my question again. Okay, how about the issue of inherited for the children if their parents not getting married? So it was my question.
Yeah, that's a very clear and a very simple question. In most European countries, we have an alternative to marriage, and that is the partnership registration. And legally, that is exactly the same. So for people who are not married in a traditional way, but who wish to regulate the inheritance, there is a partnership registration, and it has exactly the same rights and duties, so it's recognized, and so there's in that respect there is no problem at all. Of course, which is again a challenge to Catholics, because many people would say, yeah, if I don't need to marry in a Catholic way, I just register my partnership, why should I marry?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Dr. Franz. So there is question in the chat box from Sister Adelina to Islam representative. So Sister asking, what do you think of today's societal standards that expects the wife to work and earn money as much as the husband, but is also expected to take on most of the housework, work like they're in a traditional family. Welcome, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Adelina. Yeah, that standard is not in Islam. This is a wrong way of seeing things. The wife can be working. It's actually what do you call it? Supporting the husband. It's not that the responsibility of the wife to work. Actually, remember the slide that I have shown to all of you, that man is the qawamun ala nisa, meaning they are the leader, that supposed to fulfill all the responsibility to pay for the bills, everything in the house. However, if the situation requires for the wife to work, then and the husband provide the permission, yallah, go ahead. But when you say that standard, this is the wrong understanding. But what we can do today, yes, to a certain extent, I notice the wife already work, the husband also work, both come back to home, and you can see the wife is what busy cooking, busy preparing for food, but the husband is reading newspaper or reading WhatsApps or sometimes watching TV. How would you see that? That is why if there is no communication between husband and wife in terms of the household work, there you go, towards the end, nobody can bear that. That is why I said just now, 1 minute, one divorce. So that is why we have to really understand the responsibility. So how do we overcome it? Because we know that marriage is sacred. Yeah. When you say in the name of God that you take somebody to become your husband or you take somebody to become your wife, the responsibility stays. But if you do not fulfill your responsibility, what will you do? So to my mind, this one again, communication with the husband before you start marrying. Okay, once we get married, I'll be working, you'll be working. We have to divide. You have to tell straight away, or else as time pass by, you will be quote and unquote bullied by the husband. And what more, the family members also come in and join. Unbelievable. Yeah, not only working, not only at the same time to cook and everything. So in the end, your emotional strength, your physical strengths also will be affected because of this. Because human being, we have feelings, we have how should I say, emotional attachment to something. So that is why it is good to talk. Okay. Another option is that if you have children, train your children to do the household, boys or girls. And I myself have been training my son to cook, so that at least he knows what to do if the wife in future, inshallah, will have difficulties. So helping each other, inculcate that kind of spirit of working or helping the wife, should be able to overcome this issue. Now, I hope I answered your question. Thank you. Maybe Prof will like to add to that. What happened in Denmark, is it the same thing or otherwise? Yeah, Prof. Pujison, if you want to say something on that, do you have that also in your country?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I was looking at the question addressed to me. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to answer it.
Never mind, Prof. We can hear from you also.
Okay.
This is a situation that happens in Malaysia.
So yes, please. Okay. Well, that is a complicated question. Very complicated question. I try to simplify. Professor, I just read it. Professor Wijzen mentioned that interreligious marriage could be a model for multicultural society. As I understood, this was his own view. Yes, this is my own view, but it is supported by many people. And I also speak from my Indonesian background. As we say, many people say, I come from a Pancasila family, you know, in Indonesia, Pancasila, the national philosophy of unity. So had a family, the multicultural family as a model for a multicultural society. In Indonesia, it's very difficult, very, very difficult, but it is possible. And committed people, they go through it. So yes, it is my personal view, but this view is shared by many people. In my own country, I know that there is a research ongoing, interreligious marriage between Jews and Muslims. Jews and Muslims. Yeah, showing that although Jews and Muslims fight over, it is possible to live together in a harmonious way. Yeah? Shown in a family. So we have quite some research on that. How does Catholicism look at this? What are the requirements for such a kind of marriage in terms of Catholic? Both women and men must get permission of the bishop, and thus non-Catholic partner must convert to Catholicism. The answer to the first part of the question is yes. So if I'm a Catholic and I want to marry a Muslim woman, I need permission of the bishop, of the local bishop, which is in the hierarchical system, the Pope, the archbishops, the bishops, the priests. That's true, but it is not necessary. It is not necessary to convert. So it is possible in the Catholic Church to have an interreligious marriage. Yes, you need the permission of the bishop, but for the spouse, it is not mandatory to convert to Catholicism. And yes, both partners can agree on how to educate the children. And I know also from Indonesia, there are partners who say, okay, we agree that the children are raised in a Muslim way, or children are raised in a Catholic way. But I know also parents who purposely say, okay, we go to the mosque, but we also go to the church. So they really educate their children in an interreligious way, showing the values, the shared values, as we saw. I mean, from the speech of Professor Anna and my speech, it is clear that the basic values of the family is not that much different in Islam and Christianity. Yes, we may differ on many dogmatic issues. We differ on many dogmatic issues, but not in the core values of what humanity is, or what basic unity of a society is. So yes, it is possible in an interreligious marriage to educate your children in an interreligious way. Of course, that is a choice of the spouses. I completely understand when the Muslim partner says, okay, I allow my children to be raised as a Catholic, or the Catholic spouse says, well, okay, I allow the children to be Muslim. That is also showing respect. That is also showing respect. But of course, it is more challenging. That is my personal view, of course. Had to say, okay, we purposely raise our children knowing the best of both traditions. And yeah, some people, some parents would say, okay, we leave it up to the children. You know, if they know the Muslim way and if they know the Catholic way, it is up to them when they are mature to decide for themselves whether they convert to Islam or whether they convert to Islam. That is up to the children. But we as the parents just show them the values of both ways of worshiping God. So that would be my answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Franz and Dr. Chamna, for the interesting answers. So I think we proceed to the last question from Brother Amir. So welcome, brother.
It's me, Brother Amir again. I have a question to the Christian representative, Dr. Wiesen. Dr. Wiesen, you mentioned that Christian can opt to get married or not. So in the context of marriage, is there anything like wrong marriage in Christianity? And does it gives a room for divorce? Yes.
sorry, a wrong marriage. Well, what is a wrong marriage? Sorry. Well, let me give. I think I have to clarify once again that we have a broad variety of Christianities. I speak from a Catholic family, from a Catholic background. In Catholic law, no, it is not possible to divorce. When you go to the court, the Catholic court, the only way to break the partnership, I avoid the word marriage, is to show that there has never been a marriage. So you must show that when we married, it was not my personal will, for example. So in fact, you have to prove that there never was a marriage. It was never the will to marry. But it is not possible to say, okay, I'm married, but okay, I don't love my partner anymore, or whatever. And for that reason, I want to divorce. No, that is not possible. Once there is a marriage, you loved each other, and that love is eternal. Of course, yeah, the wrong marriage, if you say the basic criteria for a marriage is the care and the love, of course in everyday life, of course that happens when the love is gone, or when people don't care about each other, you can say, well, okay, I want to divorce. From a Catholic perspective, that is not possible, because yeah, the ideal remains. The ideal remains that indeed, if you don't care, but you should care about your spouse. So in that sense, the marriage is unbreakable, because the norm remains the same. Of course, that is the ideal in the reality, because people can marry in a civil way anyway. So even they are married in a Catholic way, if they divorce in the civil way, they just go to another partner, or they have a partnership registration. So in practice, it doesn't make any difference. But yeah, I think the good thing about the ideal marriage as something that is eternal, that once you said I love you, and once you say I care about you, that is not something for a week, or that is not something for a month or a year. That is for the rest of your life.
Thank you, Dr. Franz, for the answers. So I will pass. So the time was for the Q&A was out. So I pass to the Sister Bushra. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Faris, and also thank you to all the speakers. Well, I think that's all for Q&A session. We have reached the end of the event. Last but not least, I would like to invite again Dr. Fatimah Shehu to give concluding remarks. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Noor. And I believe that this session, this time has been very fruitful. When you look at the theme of the forum that we had chosen, that is related to a very important element of everyone's religious society. When you look at it, that is family as such. And I believe that it has been well delivered by all the three representatives from Islam, Christianity, and Buddhism. Let me just, before I just conclude, this briefly, maybe I would like to add to what Prof. Wilson said, perhaps to look at it from a different point of view. Because here we look at a Muslim, a Christian, and a Buddhist. But if we put at it from according to religion itself, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, then it is very comprehensive. Maybe this is how we view according to our perception, and depends on how people look at it. And when you look at the reality, we have Muslims who do not follow Islam. There might be Christians who do not follow Christianity, and Buddhists who do not follow Buddhism as well. And this very sensitive issue, when you look at it, especially interreligious marriages, and this is when I look at it, from this perspective, and when I look at this is not what is meant by a family from a Muslim perspective, or Catholic perspective, or Buddhist perspective. So here we want just to look at it from the what is meant to be a family institution from that perspective. When I look at interreligious, marriages, yes, from Islamic perspective, it is allowed for a Muslim man to marry a Jewish or a Christian lady with conditions, but it's not the vice versa. There is no any Muslim woman that she is allowed to marry a Christian, a Jew, or anyone else. So this is very, very clear, and Muslim scholars, they have made it very strict. They go up to the level that the lineage should go back to the time of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he was a Christian or a Jew, belongs to that time. So therefore here we might have some Muslims who do not observe these conditions. Maybe could be among the Christians who do not observe this condition. I can share with you, Prof. Wijson and others, when look at the fall of Ottoman Caliphate, that the region that was under the Ottoman Caliphate in the Balkans, we were among them, and they promoted these interreligious marriages. So they did not follow the rules and regulations from both perspectives to that level that they were even, serving haram, what is meant to be prohibited in both religions. So we have to be very particular here, even though when I look at it from the maybe postmodernism is challenging religious communities, we understand this. And you mentioned here that even though in Holland there are laws that support the establishment of family related to same gender, but still Christians can survive. They can apply their tradition as well. So this is very important when you look at it from that perspective. In order to, maybe as I mentioned, you can look at Muslims are divided into different, communities according to the way they interpret Islam. So that is another thing. But when you look at the mainstream of Muslims, they are against this, Prof. I believe you know this very well. Prof. Yeah. And you said that there are studies here, studies based on what people do, not what based on what Islam say. So there is I wanted to add to what you have mentioned here to make it a bit, to look at it from a different perspective. So we have our views, but being a representative of a religion, we have to be very particular because, as I mentioned, this is a very sensitive issue when I talk about the establishment of family, when now at this time we have been attacked from different angles. And we are struggling to maintain the real meaning of family. As you have well said here, three representatives, as we have seen, it is very clear that family, it is very fundamental, that is established based on the relationship between male and female. So there is an agreement based, this is the common related to what the three representatives have mentioned, regardless of the sources that refer to. So here we might differ when look at the sources, but it is very fundamental. And they focus on dignity, honor, loyalty, so that will maintain a good relationship between the members of the family. And of course, even when, when I look at it from Islamic perspective, it was well mentioned by Prof. Amna that, yes, that is very fundamental. And she provided for us a good example that is related to the story of Luqman and how he's dealing with his son. This is very educative in that nature that is relevant to our time, because we find difficult how to advise our children. As we mentioned, that we are challenged by different values, and by referring to the sources that we have, this will provide a solution for us and make it relevant to our time. So this is very relevant, and maybe because of the time, maybe she did not include the relationship between parents and children and other issues, like what was mentioned by Prof. Wijson when you look at the family from the very beginning, the foundation related to Mary and how the relationship between Jesus and Mary and how that was developed later on, going back to the birth. And even though there is, according to what is said, this issue is still discussed among the Christians, but what is fundamental here when we look at the relationship between the mother and the child. So that is very fundamental here, and how Christians, they look at it, the family and the rights and rules that they have. And by looking at the Bible, he mentioned, as it was mentioned by Prof. Amna, related to other, canonical synods that are in the Catholic Church, because he is a representative of the Catholic Church. So maybe we do apologize, Prof. Wijson, that it was better for us to look at it from that perspective. So maybe next time we have to make it very specific that you belong to the Catholic Church, so that will give a clear picture to the audience. But you have said it well, and this is very important for us. Anyone look at the canonic of the church and the church itself, this is very fundamental, that emphasizes on the establishment of family and how to maintain. And when I look at it from the Buddhist perspective, that he has given us, if we say that broader, maybe he added what was mentioned by both the speakers, looking at the characteristics of development of the family between the spouses and breaking this into, if I said that, detailed information about rights of both spouses. And according to Buddhism, if I may say that as a summary, that family is not just only related to the two who are developing the family, male and female, but is extended family. And we believe that this is in Christianity and as well as in Islam, or among the Muslims and Christians. So extended family. So this is how we maintain a relationship with others. But this is very fundamental, as you mentioned, in Buddhism. And he referred to the sources in Buddhism, and he mentioned the term related to family as well as the household of family that is taking care of the family, regardless of the authority that is given to the wife in order to manage the family. So we have, even though it was not mentioned, if I may say, even from, I can speak from our perspective as Muslims, yes, that is the authority that is given even to a Muslim woman to manage the family, and Shamna mentioned this in her talk. So this is what I can say, and I'm very thankful to all of you because we have given us very beneficial information about family institution from three different perspectives. And I'm very happy that this did not go against the aims of interreligious dialogue that we have mentioned previously, and this is what we discuss with the students in the class. And I believe that this will continue to maintain this in the future. And I would like to thank all of you, as well as to thank the students who participated from the very beginning. And I can see that this is the result of the students that we have seen today. So I'm very happy with that. And without forgetting, we have to thank our university for allowing us to make use of this opportunity to have a connection with others who can contribute and make us understand them as they are, and to have a good relationship with them. And this will open the door for extending our relationship with others. As well as would like to thank our Kulia, Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, Kulia of Islamic Review, Knowledge and Human Sciences, as well as the Usuluddin department for giving us this opportunity, because this is an assessment related to the course that I teach. And without forgetting, we have to mention as well the International Institute for Muslim Unity for providing us all assets related to the platform that we are managing this forum. So with that, thank you very much. And we hope that we'll meet again in other forums.
Thank you.
Professor, this is not the end. This is just the end of my word, you know. We have a little surprise, you know.
Thank you, Dr. Fatwe, for conclusion of the forum. So before we proceed to the last agenda, I would like to give a token appreciation to our speakers. Firstly, I would like to welcome Associate Professor Dr. Cik Amna to receive e-certificate. Okay, Doctor, we need to take a photo, so you just smile. Okay, media team, prepare. 1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Cik Amna. And then I would like to invite Professor Dr. Franz Joseph to receive e-certificate. Okay, Prof, please smile. 1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, last but not least, Dr. Samantha. I would like to welcome Dr. Samantha to receive e-certificate. Okay, smile, Dr. 1, 2, 3. Okay, last one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you to all our speakers. And again, I would like to say thank you for bringing us to a very productive session today. And I would like to remind to all the participants, you need to fulfill the feedback form that provided in the chat box before we end our program. And Alhamdulillah, we already come to the end of our session. And can we have a quick group photo? As please everyone open your camera and smile. Don't forget to smile. Yeah, media team, please prepare. Okay, please open the camera.
One, smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3. Freestyle.
Okay.
One more.
Okay, one more freestyle.
1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Brother Hafizuddin. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, on behalf of International Institute for Muslim Unity and Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion, I would like to say thank you for your active participation today and have a great rest of your day. I am Nur Bushra binti Mahjub, signing off. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone.
Alaikum salam. Thank you. See you again.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.